The third model we're going to make is the snub nose model. And again, we're going to start with the paper with the long side towards us. But this time we're going to fold the short side on the right to match the short side on the left. Make sure you crease really well. Okay? We're going to unfold the paper, and again, I'm going to mark that center line because even though we're going in the other direction, we still want it to be balanced around that center line. I'm going to bring this right edge up, down, so that it lies along the center line. And then I'll bring this left top edge down so that it lies along that center line. I'm then going to take the point that's at the top here and bring it down to the point where the other two pieces meet. So I'm going to bring it down like this and fold it. So we now have something that looks like that with a foot flap in it. I'm going to extend my center line just so that I know where I'm trying to balance around. Now I'm going to bring this right edge, this diagonal right edge in so that it lies along that center line. And then this left diagonal edge in so it balances along that center line. Sometimes the paper just doesn't want to cooperate, but it will. Okay, heat and humidity are not good for paper. Okay, well, at least humidity isn't. All right. Now I want to take the very top here, about a ½ inch, maybe about half of what you see there. You see this triangle that you have right up here? I want to fold about half of that back and leave only about half of it facing me. So I'm going to take, and it doesn't have to be exact, but fold that just like that. Okay? And then I'm going to fold this plane in half. So I now have something that looks like that. The only thing that's left now is I have to shape the wings. And to do that, I'm going to take and fold this down so that it meets this bottom edge, like that. And I'll flip it over to make it symmetrical. You've got a lot of layers of paper here, so it's going to be a little tricky, especially by the nose, but be patient and do a good job. You don't want to rip your paper because that will not be good for flying, okay? And once you've done that, you've got your plane, okay? So your third plane is complete. Now it's time to fly your planes. There are lots of different forces that make flight possible, and as you test fly these planes, you're going to need to be thinking about those. Because you've got paper planes without engines, you're going to have to provide the thrust which is what will set the plane in motion and create the lift, which will counteract the gravity and allow the plane to stay in the air. Okay, you probably want to make sure that you have no wind, or at least minimal wind, when you try to fly these, because that definitely will affect your results. You might try to launch your planes from different angles to see how that affects the flight path. So you might want to launch it flat, or you might want to launch it slightly up, or try different directions and see how that works. As you test fly these planes, keep notes, okay? Do they fly straight? How far do they fly? If your plane doesn't fly straight, check to make sure that everything is symmetrical and that the wings especially are even, that they are the same size and that the folds match each other, okay? That's really important. Because if one side's bigger than the other, it's going to fly to that side. Check to make sure that the wings are set at the same angle. We don't want one wing way down and one wing way up, okay? We want to make sure that they're at the same angle when we set them going. If things really seem to be off balance, you may want to fold a new model. It may also be helpful to place a paper clip, as we discussed with this model, to hold the two sides of the plane together. The paper clip will also add a bit of weight and shift the center of gravity, which is likely to make the aircraft more stable. Okay, try placing your paper clip in different places. So you might place it right at the end, or you might decide to place it a little further back, okay, and see how that affects it. If your plane seems determined to nosedive every time you try to fly it, try bending up the backs of your wings a little bit, okay? Just a little bit, and do it gradually and test it as you fly it to see what effect that has on it. Can you imagine changes that you might make to the folding design? What happens if you cut little flaps into the wings? What happens if you add curve to the wings? Try different types of paper and use different sizes. See what happens. I hope that you have enjoyed folding these models, and I hope you've had fun flying them and experimenting with tweaks to the designs. And I really hope that you will join the group session on Friday, August 7th at 2:30 p.m. to share your designs and observations. Happy flying.